Hey everyone, my name is Vojchehoske and welcome to the channel where my mission is simple: to help you pass your real estate exam the first time. So today we're going to do those keywords that are all evolve around title searches and abstracts. So let me clarify or illustrate for you when these words are going to come into play here. So let's say, for example, you're buying a piece of property in a particular state. Well, depending on the state that you're in and buying that piece of property, to ensure that you receive good title from the previous owner, you're going to do either an abstract or you're going to do a title search. And then there's going to be a certificate of title that's issued or title insurance. So let's start with 269. What is title? Well, title is a simple word in real estate that means ownership. Number 270, we're going to talk about abstracting. Now, abstract is sometimes referred to as an abstract of title. It's a summary report, or what I like to call a history report, of the ownership of that particular piece of property. And that ownership is researched all the way back to when the original land patent was granted back, sometimes in the 1700s, depending on the state that you're in. And sometimes the abstract reports, man, they're like this thick. I've seen a couple of them that are over 3 inches thick. It's a condensed history of anything that was recorded that impacted that particular piece of property, including a list of the previous owners. So there's a chronological history of the owners going all the way back to the original owner. There is a record of encumbrances and easements and wills that might have been recorded against it, and liens and grants and all of that. Anything of public record is going to be included in that abstract or that condensed report. And so someone is going to be able to flip through that report and make sure that the new owner is not going to get any, they're not going to get title when they purchase the property with any clouds against it. So that is an abstract of title. Number 271 is abstractor. Now, in 270, we talked about the abstract of title, and the abstract of title is simply a history report of that property's chain of title. But who prepares it? Who researches it? And that is the abstractor. It's a person preparing that abstract or that abstract of title. And in most jurisdictions, the abstractor must be licensed with the state in which they are operating or conducting business in. 272 is a part of the abstract or that abstract of title. A chain of title is a history report that includes a chronological list of all the property owners going all the way back to the original owner, sometimes back in the 1700s. The reason that's important and the reason it's part of the abstract is it ensures that the property being conveyed to the new owner, that new owner is getting free, clear, marketable title or ownership. We're making sure that the previous owners conveyed their title to the new owner in a proper way. And if there's any issue with it, then we have to go back and deal with it using a term called quiet title action. And I've already did a video on quiet title action. So the chain of title is a very important part of that abstract. So the abstractor knows that the owner or the person that is buying the property currently is getting title free and clear of liens and encumbrances or a cloud regarding previous owners. So it's very important. 273 is a certificate of title. So certificate of title, let's talk about that for a minute. So a certificate of title is a statement or opinion of the condition of the title based on the abstract review. So we have the abstractor that prepares the abstract, which is that condensed history report of that piece of property. Now the abstractor may, if they are legally entitled to in their particular state, say, I have created this report and I stand by this report, and it is my opinion that it is accurate and there is no liens or encumbrances, or here are the issues that I identified. They're going to issue what's called a certificate of title. And again, the certificate of title is just a statement or an opinion of what they found based on their research of of the, the chain of title and the abstract. Now, again, sometimes the abstractor is the person that issues their certificate of title. Sometimes it's an attorney. In some states, what will happen is the abstractor will prepare the abstract. Then they have to send it to an attorney who then will review it and give their professional legal opinion, verifying the findings of the abstractor. Now, one thing to remember with abstracts, even with the certificate of title that's being issued, it does not guarantee good title. It is an opinion that you can rely on, but it doesn't guarantee good title. Title insurance does, because, and we're going to talk about title insurance in a minute, because there is an indemnification part to title insurance, because it's an insurance policy. So if you live in the state of Iowa, for example, that uses abstracts, and you buy a piece of property and you get a certificate of title and the opinion is everything is great, and then you find out that it's not, well, even though it's not a guarantee of good title, that abstractor or that attorney that issued the certificate of title has some type of errors and omissions insurance. So you're still going to have legal recourse against that abstractor or that attorney that issued the certificate of title. So even though it's not guaranteed of good title, there are still some liability protection there, if you will, because that's usually the biggest question I get from students. What happens if I get a certificate of title, they say it's okay, and then I find out 5 years later it's not? Well, that abstractor or the attorney has some type of liability insurance for that protection. All right, let's talk about title searches. Now remember, title searches in abstracts, it depends on what state you're in, but let's say you're in a state buying a piece of property in a state that uses title searches and title insurance. Title search is a lot like the abstract of title, where it is a search, a physical search of all the things we talked about with the abstract. They're going to look and make sure it's a history report of that property all the way back to the original land patent. It's going to include liens, encumbrances, easements, all of those things. Excuse me. It's also going to include the chronological order of all the previous owners, and was title conveyed to the new owners in a proper legal way, etc. A title search, again, like the abstract, is nothing more than a condensed version of the history report of that piece of property. 275, title insurance. Now, once that title search is done, then there's going to be title insurance that is issued. So the title search is done. Somebody reviews it and goes, yep, typically it's an attorney at the title insurance company that's going to say, yep, everything is good. Looks good to me. So then they're going to go ahead and authorize title insurance. So a policy is implemented. A policy, insurance policy, infers that there is indemnification. That means it guarantees good title. So if you buy a piece of property, you have title insurance that was issued, and 5 years later you find out that there was an issue that somebody missed when they did their title search, then that insurance policy indemnifies the new buyer, basically makes the new buyer whole. It's sort of like automobile insurance, right? So if you go out and you get into an accident, then you have insurance to cover your loss. It's the same principle, because it's literally an insurance policy. If you're going to continue studying, I highly encourage you to watch this video. I'll see you all in the next study video.